Hey, yo, what's going on, my friends? Merry Christmas, post Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy 1 year anniversary, post 1 year anniversary. It is a new year. It is a new time. It is a new episode of In Madness Pod. I think this is 22.5 of our ridiculously numbered system. Shawn the Butcher here with Vertebrae 33. What's going on?
What's going on, Shawn? How are you?
We made it a year.
We made it a year. We can do this. Will be the pot we just quit right here, right in the middle of this episode. We're like, that's it. We made a year. Thank you very much. We'll never get to the thing. We'll never get to but
Heartbreaking.
it's awesome, and I'm excited for next year and nervous about how we're going to fit all these films in, because if I keep listening to audiobooks or reading books along with movies, it's going to be a struggle. But appreciate it, everyone listening over the holidays and hanging with us on the Exorcist episodes. Pretty cool.
Make sure you follow us on all of the socials at In Madness Pod, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Threads. Hit us in the mail sack, inmadnesspod@gmail.com. Any questions about any of our past episodes from the past year, we will most likely read your email and address any questions you may have or statements you want to make on the show, which is awesome. Subscribe to the YouTube channel where you can watch these episodes as well as listen along. Subscribe to the In Madness Spotify playlist, where you're going to hear everything from Beethoven to the Ronettes to, what was it, the Donovans, Ricky Tikki Tivi from Barbarian. Any movie that we talk about, we add music, or anything that we talk about on these mini episodes, we add that to the In Madness Spotify playlist. Happy In Madness Monday. Tell your friends about this show. Spread the madness worldwide. I was very happy to hear that we are listened to all around the world according to your stats, Vertebrae. So that's very cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Too, is a lot of podcasts take breaks around the holidays. A lot of them that I listen to. And not only did we not take a break, but we did ourselves a disservice by dropping back-to-back episodes on 2 days. So, but we're gonna catch up, and we appreciate everyone listening. I had asked before if people could write in and talk to us about The Exorcist a little bit. I know I wanted to talk about it a teeny bit on this episode, but I am more than excited, though, to hear what you have to tell me, Shawn, because before we started, I was like, hey, this and this, and you're like, nope, save it for the podcast.
Well, yeah. So Merry Christmas. So
Christmas.
Did you get any cool Christmas gifts?
Yeah, cool stuff. I got some books, and I did get the Criterion Collection Silence of the Lambs Blu-ray. So that's not the next film, but I'm prepping in advance for the Criterion Collection. Has a lot of extras on it and stuff like that too. So a couple extra books to add to my list, and good times. You?
I posted the John McClane ornament that I got of him inside the in the air shaft, which is great.
Right. Awesome.
I got this cool MF Doom poster hanging up on my wall. I got so much cool stuff. I haven't done the official Christmas yet because a lot of the family stuff was going on. By the time this episode will have aired, I'll have done it, and I'll definitely be posting stuff on the In Madness socials and my socials as well. But yeah, I love Christmas because I always get the weirdest, gnarliest stuff. Most people get hats and underwear and socks. I get Godzilla toys and Mucinex nasal spray, which they are not sponsoring this show, but I live and die by this stuff because I have terrible sinus problems. So,
wow, this just took a turn. I didn't realize we were going to talk about medical related gifts.
Oh, this is always. We were talking about it at medical. We had medical stuff in the Exorcist episode, medical stuff when I passed out at the Sang Sugabog show. This is a very savvy show, all different types of topics, not only movies, but my medical problems as well, which I have many of. So yeah.
Right. My mug collection grew by a mug. The household's mug collection grew by 2 additional mugs. So we are just.
What
one
mug
day
did you get?
I got a Star Wars mug from a friend of mine. But one day I'm gonna post. We'll have to do some mug posts.
Yeah, I posted you with your Godzilla one at Comic-Con.
Yeah. So there's It's 3 additional mugs to the house, and we continue. I do a lot of mug shopping. I think in the future, I wanna start, like, a horror sci-fi mug company that just sells, like, mugs related to those movies.
You could call it mug shots.
Oh, there you go. We just started a
Yeah.
business.
We got yeah, this is licensed, this is patent. By the time we get this episode, you're screwed. We got it.
It's
We
done.
own this name. Yeah.
But think of it, you know what? I'm just thinking of this right now, but, like, imagine it's mugs with movie properties on it, but it's also replica mugs and maybe glassware from certain movies. So it's in, like, a scene. So you get, you get the Wile Utani mug, the replica of that or something. That'd be pretty cool. A whole site dedicated to that. I just gave
The
somebody a
Colorado
$1,000,000
Space
idea.
mug, the Signs mug. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have to do a lot of research because I feel like they just probably buy well, they stamped on the bottom that color out of space something else, but they bought that. They probably just bought it at Target, but yeah, let's do it.
If you do write us, we will probably in the next point five dip into the mail sack and read whatever emails we have. We just wanted to come on because you said podcast take a break. Was taking a break an option? I never knew that. Maybe we should do that for this year. Maybe we could give ourselves a week off for Christ's sake. But I love reviewing all these movies, and I'm very excited to lay out our next movie list. But we just wanted to pop on for a point five now, since we didn't get to do one in between Exorcist and Die Hard. And because I had a couple of, I was telling you, he's keeping me up at night. I had some gnarly bits that I knew I've seen on like documentaries before that I did not mention in the Die Hard episode. And it was kicking me in the ass, and then people were like posting it in the comments, and I was like, damn it, I knew
Mm,
that and I didn't say it, and it pissed me off so much. So for Die Hard, since we're just going back to our before Christmas episode, Alan Rickman, Hans Gruber, I believe that was his debut film. Die Hard
mhm.
was his
Yes.
first ever movie, and he was 41, which just goes to show, don't give up on your dreams. It's not always a young man's game. He
Mhm.
exploded on the scene, and he was a year older than I currently am now, so it's coming. Another 365 days, I get my Hans Gruber. I'm gonna explode into the world. So yeah, that, and so did you know that? Did you know that as well?
Yes, that one I knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if we mentioned it in the episode. Maybe it passed
I
me
don't
by.
think so. I
Yeah,
don't, it was on, like, my list of notes, but I don't think so.
I did wanna highlight that. There was another one I wanted to highlight. Did you have any other Die Hard highlights that you wanted to get to?
No, I wasn't even I'm so deep in The Exorcist right now. We'll get to that in a minute or
Yes,
2.
that's where I'm gonna go right now. Yeah, yeah. You did mention the candy bars the guy was eating. You nailed them
Yes.
down. What was it?
Oh, that was on Christmas. Because it was on. It was oh my god, now you put me on the spot.
You
I
said it was
texted
a
you.
Crunch bar and a Mars bar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it
That
was
scene was improvised, which is another thing that I knew and
oh, wow, I
totally
didn't know
forgot
that.
to mention. Yeah. And my buddy DB, shout outs to DB in the comments. We got to have DB on the show. He's going to be one of my pitches for you soon. Yeah, he commented and he's like, great improv scene. And I was like, oh, shit. That
Uh,
was an improv scene, and I didn't. Yeah. So that dude rules. That guy is an iconic actor.
Listen, Sean, the gnarly bit game is a slippery slope, and I guess I was known for them before we did this podcast, and that's kinda how this happened, but you're gonna miss some, and people are gonna be excited to point it out or assume you already know, but yeah, good one, I didn't know that.
Or assume we don't know what the hell we're talking about. But I do see, but that's the thing. Since we started doing this podcast now randomly, because I guess my phone hears me, uh, random movie facts will just pop up on my phone on whatever social media I'm on. And it's usually things, it's always things that we highlight on this
Mhm.
podcast. And recently a Die Hard one popped up of the guy walking through the bush and he like pricks his finger and he's like,
Oh,
ow,
yeah,
damn.
yeah.
And I was like, we talked about that, goddamn. At least we highlighted that.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think sometimes it's just in time constraints. Those
yeah,
2 episodes were really long episodes,
yeah.
and
Mhm.
so I think we can't just do every bit of it, but
Everything, yes. So my question to you,
mhm.
since we nailed down that Prometheus is indeed a Christmas movie, right? Because he's got
Yes,
the land on Christmas, yep. Since we tallied, I believe the final number was 21 tallies, that Die Hard is definitely a Christmas movie, right?
correct.
My question to you, being that Exorcist takes place over the fall into the very cold parts of the month, is Exorcist also a Christmas movie?
I'm gonna say no.
Wrong.
I really want it to be a Christmas movie, but I think we laid out kind of ground rules when we did Die Hard, and I think it didn't really hit any of those notes.
They didn't even
They
mention it. No,
they
no.
didn't mention it. We didn't see a tree,
A decoration.
anything, no
Yeah.
decorations. I think if we saw some decorations, we could take a leap of faith, that it is, but I'd love it to be. I totally would love it to be. I'd love it to have taken place over 7 weeks. I mean, I'd love all those things to happen, but that would be digging. So
Yeah,
if we're wrong, let us know.
you had made a very funny comment in the during the episodes. I've enough with Exorcist. I've taken in so much of this, 12 hours, shotgunned it right before the episode, terrible state of mind, all this stuff you were saying in the episode.
Mhm.
Immediately the day after, when the episode's post, you're like, oh man, I really want to see 2 and 3 and 4. I want to see all the sequels. I want to dip into the whole world. I'm like, you just wanted a break from this shit, and now you want to
Yeah.
go in and check out every sequel. Yeah, yeah.
I quickly went and watched all the trailers for all the other ones, which I had never seen, and I think rightfully just The Exorcist was the movie and none of it kind of mattered. But now that we dug deeper into that movie and got to know those characters, and you get to 2, and the trailer for 2 is absolutely insane, and then you get to 3, which apparently focuses on the Kinderman Dyer relationship, and our buddy Karras makes his way back into the film, and then there's some prequels, and then there was the new one, The
I
Exorcist Believer.
I just watched it.
Okay, so two things.
Mhm.
One, if we go, William Friedkin passed away in August, and before he passed away, he was asked about that film, and he said, I'm going to read it off my phone here. He said, "The guy, uh, the guy who made those new Halloween sequels is about to make one of my movie, The Exorcist. That's right, my signature film is about to be extended by the man who made Pineapple Express. I don't want to be around when that happens.
Ugh.
But if there's a spirit world and I can come back, I plan to possess David Gordon Green
Oh
and make
my
his life a living hell."
oh my god. That's
It's
that's
saying that he
deep.
passed away in August, but I will say this, and I don't do this often on this podcast. I watched The Exorcist Believer last night, and I am in 100% agreement with William Friedkin.
You didn't like it, right?
That I hate to, me, Shawn,
I know
you
you
got me
hate to, but
tiptoeing in the ground.
allow me. I
I
did
hate to
not
be
like that
negative.
movie. Yeah,
I hate to be negative because we get a reunion, and for spoilers, if anyone's not seen this movie and wants to see it, just tune out for a couple minutes, flip forward, hit your 30-second button, hit a few. We won't spend too long on it, nor should we. But wow, and I disliked it on so many levels, on like a lot of levels. I mean, there's the easy, like, hey, one girl's scary. Now there's two. Isn't that scarier? Um, there's big time issues with the end. They I am somebody who loves exposition scenes. I like when they get explaining in movies. When they sit around Indiana Jones, I love when they're talking about the relics. It's fine if he's swinging from a tank or over a ravine, but I love those parts. And when he's in college and he's teaching, this movie had very poor explainy scenes and a lot of them. It seemed like everybody needed to have their big speech at each other throughout the film, and it felt like a weird buddy comedy in a way. Like they were building to this moment, and I didn't care about any of the characters. I saw what they were trying to do. Listen, there's dogs fighting in the beginning, which alludes to the two dogs. They did a lot of that sort of what they call the kids called member berries, right, in this film, and we get you know we get Chris back, and we get Reagan back at the end. Spoilers again if you haven't seen it for a split second. Um, but those brought their own problems too, because if we're discounting all the rest of the films, right, Shawn, this is supposed to take place after the one we just saw. Karras goes down the steps, dies, demon goes into him, it's gone. David Gordon Green wants you to forget everything else that happened in between, and we're jumping forward now. Somewhere along the line, Chris becomes McNeil is not a famous actress anymore. She's an expert on exorcisms.
To the point where she could do it herself.
That's the part that was like, okay, like I like they acknowledged she wasn't in the room for it because she wasn't.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. We are spoiling the hell out of
Yeah,
this
I
movie.
apologize for this, but it's fresh on my mind from last night. And we get a holiday break, and I decide to watch a film, and it's like, you know what? I'm in this mindset. We just went through this movie. I watched the trailers. I was gonna just watch Exorcist 2. It's not available streaming anywhere right now. You got to pay for it. I started to watch the first 5 minutes of Exorcist 3,
I
and then
did rag on Exorcist 3 maybe a little extra harder than I needed to in our Exorcist episode. I
Mhm.
really don't remember most of it. I remember that I didn't love it as much as the first Exorcist, but you're never gonna love the third movie like you
Right.
do the
I,
first movie.
I got high. Listen, if we're going to talk about a movie from 1990 and say I have high hopes for it, they're going to be like, these guys never watch movies. But because it's based on Blatty's book and it was directed by him, and I heard there's some weird, some pretty weird stuff in it. I'm gonna watch it and we'll see how it goes. I I know that Believer was supposed to kick off a franchise for them in
Of
three
course.
films. Um, and I will say that it didn't do what Halloween did when it came out, and that movie, that Gordon Green Halloween, really sent that in a pretty cool way. This just, I don't know. I was looking for symbolism throughout it. I was looking for mom's eyes getting messed up. I was looking for why, and I just didn't find it. It was a lot of chit chatty.
Spoiler alert, the fact that she was so cool with the dude after, so like the whole thing happens with the exorcism. She's like cool and chill for like 60 years or whatever. Then that thing happens to her and she's just like, "No, it's okay." And I was like, I would be so mad at that dude. Like, I was fine for 60 years and now I meet up with you and look at me now. Look at me now. I would be so pissed. Yeah. It was just, no, I can't. I can't. We're still talking about
I,
this movie. Yeah. I
I
think
would
we've
also
spoiled enough.
say, like, she's away that long. Nobody in all that time has sought her out for kind of a similar situation. Um, and just because, you were in the same house when Superman flew out the window doesn't mean you know how to fly out the window. Like, I'm not undermining her as a strong individual in the original movie. I actually think they weakened her a little bit in this by sort of giving her a shtick. I think a woman that went through that much trauma with her child, and then if you want to stick with she wrote a book about it and that messed up the relationship, I'm fine with all of that. To then turn her into a bona fide expert on it. And I just didn't, there were just lots of weird, God, this is the most negative I've ever been on this podcast ever. Shawn dragged it out of me, but I think it's because I force myself to. Shawn knows this. I will stop watching a movie, and we've done it. We tried to once record a movie, and I couldn't stand it, and I turned it off. And there's no reason for me to talk about it because I don't like it. I think it was this just coming off the heels of us doing this episode. I wanted to believe it, Shawn, in quotes, right? Exorcist the believer.
Cute.
I wanted to believe it, and I was just bummed. I was just bummed, and I think Friedkin had the right idea. I think they should probably stop right now and take a loss on this one and move forward. You know, one thing from the original Exorcist that we didn't get to talk about was Karras's jump and how he never got to really that was supposed to be his moment, and everyone just thinks that the guy committed suicide. Right, so he doesn't even get any sort of glory for the fact that he And not only that, I think in the third one, he comes back and he's possessed by the demon. So he doesn't even they negate that whole moment for him. But I think we should probably, if we decide to do more of these, I think we should just do one episode where we kind of rattle through all of them and just kind of do that in general. And if one sticks to either of us more, we can talk about it more. But I don't think they're time constraints. I don't think we're going to do every single one of them individually. So when we get to some of these movies, a lot of sequels, we might have to do something
Bundle.
like that.
Yeah, like
Yep.
a sequel bundle. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
like that. And we could come on and do like a little point 5 about just the sequel and
Right.
not have to get too deep into it. I like that. I did text you. I was listening to our Exorcist episode, and you were like, how we quickly grazed over the fact that when they open the pajamas and on her stomach it says "Help me," and you're
Mhm.
like, that's been used so many times in so many movies, and I'm like, where have I seen "Help me" before? And I'm like, oh, I know. And then I sent you the text message of her stomach saying, "Help me." And in 7, when
Mhm.
the forensics guy is dusting off the prints on the wall and it says, "Help me," which brought The Exorcist and 7 universe together, which blew my mind because in the
Yeah.
Exorcist episode, I did ask you, since we always do it, did it take place over 7 days? You said, "No, it took place over a course of months."
Mhm.
Then I asked 7 weeks. Who the hell knows? But yeah, I made the "Help me" connection with Reagan's stomach and the fingerprints on the back of the painting in 7.
I just want to clarify too with you. I hate, I hate going negative on anything. So this my take on this movie is my take. It doesn't matter to anybody. A lot of people worked really hard on that film. A lot of designers designed a lot of really cool things. It's got a nice visual look to it in a lot of places. It's shot very well too. I just think I had hoped for me that they would have gone in a different direction with this. What did you think, Sean?
Of the new Exorcist movie?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't care for it. I really tried to like it for the first half, and I feel
Mhm,
like for the first half, it kind of had me, and then I feel there was, like, the barbarian moment, and, like, there's that one thing where it's just like, "Eh, I'm not really I don't give a crap about the movie or
mhm.
what's happening or whatever," and they lost me, and then when at the end, when it just got completely wacky and there's the circle of people, and I'm like, "What the fuck is going on here?" I didn't do it for me. Again, coming off the heels of The Exorcist, we just watched greatness, and then, 50 years later, we watched the churn out of, the
Mhm.
franchise movement. I'm
Right.
sure there'll be 2 more: believer, non-believer, and super believer, whatever. But
Mhm.
yeah, again, I'm sure a lot of people worked hard, and all that. And if people enjoyed it, if you enjoyed it, let us know on the
Yeah,
socials at
tell
in
us.
madness pod in madnesspod at gmail.com. Did you have anything else to say about believer
I was ju
or
I was just
the
gonna say
original Exorcist?
I was gonna say about Believer is I had no issue with them sort of changing up religions if they wanted to go, they talked about it being exorcisms taking place in all religions and all cultures. I thought that was a really cool thing. And then when it got to it, they just hedged their bets and we got a little like super friends of all their religious beliefs in a little circle. Like I think it would have been better if you're going to go that way with it. And there was the woman that he was talking to and she was doing the other stuff from another belief system, and if you're not going to go sort of Catholic with it, I think that's perfectly fine. But then they hedged it at the end and you bring the priest back in and we kind of try to make up for it. And then we roll in like kind of a non-believer too, so we're like, okay, well, we'll cover the atheist as well, or the previous believer who doesn't believe anymore. I think you just got to go in one direction. It would have been really cool to have it not be Catholic at all and not roll in any other priest and have it go in a completely different direction. Like I thought that's kind of where they were headed, and I was like, oh, this is going to get really freaky. And then it just got to like it went from an exorcism to like sort of an intervention in this room. And it didn't feel, listen, the original Exorcist feels icky. It feels lived in. It feels dirty. This was clean. It felt very it just I don't know. It kind of just missed on a lot of things for me, but I
We gotta
tried,
call
Sean. I
we g
tried.
we gotta call this 22.5 spoiler alert.
Yeah, we just destroyed this whole movie. I
You were
apologize.
speaking about, like, the different cultures that this movie has impacted, not the new movie, The Exorcist.
Mhm,
Something I did wanna highlight, there are Exorcist samples all throughout the music that I listen to and that I love, and we do have a music playlist, and I would like to add all of these and put these on your radar if you don't know. My man Cameron, I love Cameron, he's a Harlem rapper, he has an album called Come Home With Me, and on that album, he's got a song called Losing Weight Part 2, and the sample that they use throughout the entire song is Tubular Bells, and it is absolutely sick as hell. It's one of my favorite songs ever. I will add that
nice.
to the In Madness playlist. The band Possessed has a song called The Exorcist where they begin it by playing the Tubular Bells theme. So I will also
Mhm.
add that to the End Madness playlist. And since we also play songs that feature samples of the movies that we talk about, Cypress Hill off their album Temples of Boom have a song called Stoned Raiders where it begins with Merrin talking to Reagan during the exorcism. So I will also add that song to the Ed Madness playlist. But I love seeing it in heavy metal and hip hop. Exorcist impacted so much and so many people throughout generations. And hopefully, the original from 50 years ago is the one that sticks and not all these. I'm sure it will. It will live on forever. These other ones, I'm not sure if they will be remembered quite as much as
Yeah, though, although I'm curious to see some of the prequels that I never saw. There were prequels with Marin, like a young version of him. So, um, I just they weren't on my radar at all when they came out over the years. But I'll be curious to bundle. Like I said, we bundle them together, like you called it a bundle, and we'll do all the rest of them.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe for the new year, we do some sequel bundles so we don't have to watch all of them and dive into them. We could do the originals. We'll dive into the originals, but like Alien, the movies, I think we'll do those will get their own episodes, but for like not
Yes.
not so big. Well, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I did have one more thing. Do you have anything else
Okay.
that you wanted to get into before I give us our closing arguments here?
No, but I'm wondering now will we get hate mail because of my Exorcist believer take. My first negative take on listen, we've done 22 films, um, and with varying degrees of my excitement for all of them in the beginning and at the end. For the most part, I end up liking these films a lot better after I've seen them, even if I like them a lot going in, because once you start to pick them apart and there's all this cool stuff in there, it just helps you enjoy it even more. So, you got to give me a break if for once I go down that path.
I'm gonna grab him by his collar and put vertebrae back on his chain and link him back up to the dog has been let off the chain.
Uh, yeah, I
I
know
got
you're excited by this, though. I
he's
know
I'm
you're
I'm
excited by this. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
free
you
I'm
love this.
shutting my mouth. I got nothing to say. I'm letting the
You
man
love this.
it's just energy. You're just putting out energy. I don't even think people would care about the opinion you have about it. I think they'll be like, "The movie just came out. How are you spoiling it?" But it did just come out. It's been out for a while. I think it's on Peacock right
It's on
now.
Peacock. So just
So,
we'll listen when we post this episode, we'll put something in there. Like just
spoil
don't
22.5
yeah, it
spoiler alert.
contains major spoilers for
Yes.
Exorcist Believer. Yeah.
Did you see what I retweeted on the In Madness Twitter account?
Is it is it Gremlins 3?
Gremlins 3. What are your
I don't
thoughts on
know.
this?
I don't know who's on it. Who's it was just like the teaser poster, right? With the
Yes.
hand and the 3 lines,
So it says
the
possibly
bloodlines.
2025. It is, as you mentioned in a few episodes for a few movies. One of my favorite phrases I've learned on Id Madness Pod: "Stuck in development hell."
Okay.
It is the way that I'm. This article that I'm seeing here says, but it says I'm seeing names like Chris Columbus on here, and I don't know if he's going to be involved or whatever. But yeah, I did see that they put up a poster for that. And I was like, oh, we did a Gremlins episode, and we should definitely do the second one. Maybe we do a this will be another bundle. We'll see, but that's
Yeah.
2025, so let's not wait that long. Maybe we just hit Gremlins 2 sometime this year, maybe around Christmas. Who knows?
Yeah.
Is Gremlins 2 a Christmas movie? I don't know. Does it take place around Christmas?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah,
But
check the In Madness Pod on Twitter. I retweeted this. By the time this episode gets posted, it'll be a while, but I'm sure you'll be seeing it on your socials. The poster for the Gremlins 3 movie, possibly coming out in 2025. So it's going to be quite a bit of a wait, but it
mhm.
is a movie that we highlighted. It is in our canon, so to speak, on the In Madness Pod, the year in review. Man, maybe we should do a year in review episode. We missed it. Next year. Next year we'll do a
Yeah,
year.
I think we were
Yeah,
supposed to have done that
that
already.
should have been this
Yeah, that
episode.
was supposed to be this, I
Yeah,
think,
nah,
but
but
that's
we
okay.
had to do it for
We're
Die
still
Hard
learning. It's
and for
okay.
Exorcist. This is good. So that was all I wanted to talk about. Just review Die Hard again, Exorcist again. Let you off the hook, foaming at the mouth for the new Exorcist
Well,
movie.
you didn't even know I saw it though, so I
No,
didn't even
that
yeah.
was yeah. I watched it just for the same thing. I was like, oh, we just watched this, and like when we have that moment in between reviewing movies, like when I could just, because watching movies, there's a different way. You watch movies differently when you're just chilling as
Mhm.
opposed to taking notes for the podcast.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, cool. I get a chillin' movie. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, cool. Exorcist Believer. It's like Reagan's still running fresh through my blood, and Marin and Karras and Homicide, Kinderman, they're all there right here, fresh in my brain. I got to watch this. And then I'm watching and I'm like, man, I
Mm.
really, the first half, I was like, okay, okay, okay. And then I was like, eh. And then I take my first pee break and then I go to the, fridge and get myself a drink and I'm not pausing the movie. And I'm just like, it's like,
Yeah,
you
they just
lost
get
me.
through
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's funny is you just mentioned watching a movie in between. I think this podcast has ruined me for that in that I start watching any movie I watch now with the same mindset. Like, I'm not actively taking
Taking
notes,
it apart.
but
Yeah.
I start just thinking about it in that way, and I realize I think I just kinda did that anyway before, but I would only do that usually for a movie I'd seen, like, a couple times. Now, after the podcast, I sort of do it for movies I've seen for the first time, and I have to, correct my mind and be like, "Just enjoy it, just watch it," and then, if you wanna look up gnarly bits about it, do it later on, but
Did you get all your gnarly bits in for episode 22.5, the first of the new year for In
mhm.
Madness Pod?
Yeah, I started with a rant. That was angry vertebrae right
Great
there,
way
the
to start the
angriest.
year. That's great energy to start the year with. I'm realizing right now, as we're closing this episode, that at the end of usually these episodes, we tease the movie we're going to review. As Vertebrae likes to say,
Uh,
"Oh, here's a little inside baseball for you. We don't know what the fuck movie we're gonna do next because we're gonna go over our lists for I think the next 2 months right after this point five.
yeah,
So
no idea. So
there is
go watch a lot of movies. It won't be Exorcist Believer. I can tell you that much. It won't
yeah,
be
yeah.
Cocaine Bear,
Oh, man, it won't be Evil Dead
and it won't
Rise.
be the new Evil Dead. I can tell you I can guarantee that it won't be one of those 3 films.
Down boy, stop,
Oh,
stop.
he's out of
I'm gonna
control.
put
He's
the
out of
muzzle.
control.
I gotta put the muzzle on Vertebrae 33.
Uh-uh. Oh, he's gonna get hate mail. I went off the rails here.
inmadnesspod@gmail.com. Anything you want to ask us about any of the movies we have covered or anything of the topics that we have spoke about in any of our point five episodes. If you are new to our In Madness family, the point fives are the episodes we do, the short ones like this in between movies. So it's not an hour 15, an hour and a half, sometimes an hour 45 minutes. You could just hang out for a quick car ride, hang out with us, and we don't get in depth in the movies. We just talk about whatever bullshit we got going on, but stuff that definitely relates to the In Madness pod and In Madness family. Is that it? Are you good, Vertebrae, for for episode 22.5?
I'm good. Thank you again for everybody who was listening. Hope everybody's had a good holiday by the time this drops and getting excited for the new year. We're excited to bring you new stuff and some new ideas. And thanks again.
We'll see you for our next movie, whatever the hell it is.